Most men completely miss this. They think attraction is about what she says. But the truth is, a woman will show you she likes you long before she ever admits it. Not with words, but with her body. And if you don't understand these signals, you'll either miss your chance or worse, misread everything. In this video, you'll discover 4 body parts she unconsciously reveals when she's attracted to you. Watch closely, because once you see this, you won't be able to unsee it. Eye behavior is one of the most revealing and difficult to fake signs of attraction because it operates largely on a subconscious level. When a woman is genuinely interested in you, her eyes begin to behave differently in ways that are subtle but consistent. One of the first things you'll notice is the duration of her gaze. Most people follow a social pattern of brief eye contact, just enough to acknowledge someone, then quickly looking away. But when attraction is present, that timing changes. She may hold eye contact just a second longer than what feels normal, creating a moment that feels slightly more intense, slightly more personal. That extra second is not accidental. It reflects a deeper level of focus and curiosity toward you. Another important detail is the pattern of looking away and then returning her gaze back to you. This is often referred to as the double look, and it carries more meaning than a single glance. The first look may be instinctive, but the second look is a choice. It shows that something about you captured her attention enough for her to check again, almost as if her mind is confirming what she felt in that initial moment. Along with this, her eyes may soften when she looks at you, losing the sharpness that people typically have when they are neutral or uninterested. There can also be a slight widening of the eyes, a natural response driven by heightened interest and emotional engagement, making her expression appear more open and receptive. You might also notice that her attention doesn't wander as easily when you're speaking. In a normal interaction, people's eyes often drift around the environment, scanning for distractions. But when she is attracted, her gaze tends to stay anchored on you, as if you've become the most important point in her surroundings. Even in a group setting, her eyes will find their way back to you repeatedly, almost automatically, without her consciously deciding to do so. The lips and mouth are often one of the most sensitive areas when it comes to subtle expressions of attraction because they are closely connected to both emotion and self-awareness. When a woman feels drawn to someone, her attention can unconsciously shift toward this part of her face, and that internal awareness begins to show through small, almost unnoticeable behaviors. You may see her lightly pressing her lips together, as if she's controlling a reaction, or slightly parting them while listening to you speak. These movements aren't rehearsed or intentional in most cases. They happen because attraction creates a heightened sense of presence, where she becomes more aware of how she looks and how she's being perceived in that moment. Another detail that often appears is subtle lip biting or touching. This doesn't have to be exaggerated to be meaningful. Even a gentle, brief contact can signal that something emotional is happening beneath the surface. It's less about the action itself and more about the context in which it appears. If these behaviors happen while she's focused on you, engaged in the conversation, or reacting to something you say, it can indicate that her mind is not just processing your words logically, but also responding on a deeper, more personal level. The lips become a kind of outlet for that internal tension, a place where attraction quietly reveals itself without needing any direct statement. There is also a softness that can develop in her mouth when she is interested. Her expressions may become slower, more relaxed, and more deliberate, as if she's fully present in the interaction. Instead of quick, neutral reactions, her mouth movements may sync with her emotional engagement, showing a calm but attentive state. Even the way she smiles can change, becoming less automatic and more genuine, with slight variations that reflect real interest rather than polite acknowledgement. Hair touching is one of the most common yet misunderstood signs of attraction, mainly because it appears so casual on the surface. In reality, it often carries deeper psychological meaning tied to self-presentation and subconscious awareness. When a woman is around someone she feels drawn to, her attention naturally shifts toward how she looks, even if she isn't consciously thinking about it. This internal shift can lead to small grooming behaviors, and her hair becomes the easiest and most accessible way to express that. You might notice her adjusting a strand, tucking it behind her ear, or lightly running her fingers through it while you're talking. These actions are not random habits in that moment. They are triggered by your presence and the subtle desire to appear more attractive without making it obvious. What makes this signal more meaningful is the timing and repetition. If she only touches her hair occasionally, it may not carry much weight. But if these movements increase when you're near, or happen specifically during moments of eye contact or conversation, it begins to reflect something deeper. Attraction often creates a slight nervous energy, and hair touching can act as a release for that tension. It gives her something to do physically while her mind is engaged with you, helping her manage that heightened awareness. At the same time, it serves as a quiet form of self-enhancement, as if she's unconsciously trying to present the best version of herself without directly acknowledging it. Neck exposure is one of the most subtle yet psychologically powerful indicators of attraction because it involves vulnerability and trust at a very instinctive level. The neck is a sensitive and unprotected area of the body, and throughout human behavior, people naturally guard it when they feel uncomfortable or threatened. So when a woman begins to expose her neck around you, whether by tilting her head slightly, moving her hair to one side, or allowing her posture to open up, it often reflects a shift in how safe and comfortable she feels in your presence. This is not something she typically plans or thinks about consciously. It happens as her body relaxes and becomes more receptive to the interaction. What makes this signal even more meaningful is the way it appears during moments of engagement. For example, while listening to you, she might angle her head in a way that reveals more of her neck, almost as if she's leaning into the conversation. This kind of movement suggests that she is not only paying attention, but also allowing herself to be more open and expressive. Attraction often lowers natural defenses, and the body begins to mirror that emotional state through posture and positioning. The exposure of the neck, in this sense, becomes less about the physical gesture itself and more about the underlying comfort and interest driving it. There is also a certain softness and fluidity in how this behavior occurs. It doesn't look forced or exaggerated. Instead, it blends naturally with her overall body language. The motion of brushing her hair aside or slightly stretching her neck can seem almost effortless, as if it's simply part of how she's carrying herself in that moment. These small adjustments often happen repeatedly but gently, reinforcing the idea that her body is responding to the dynamic between you rather than acting out of habit or coincidence. Body orientation is one of the clearest nonverbal indicators of interest because it reflects where a person's attention naturally wants to go. When a woman is attracted to you, her body will often begin to align itself in your direction without her consciously deciding to do so. This can show up in simple ways like her feet pointing toward you, her torso facing you even in a group setting, or her shoulders subtly angling in your direction while others are speaking. The body tends to follow interest, and when someone captures that interest, physical alignment becomes almost automatic. Even if she is engaged in a conversation with multiple people, her orientation may consistently shift back toward you, revealing where her focus truly lies. What makes body orientation especially revealing is that it is difficult to control consciously over a longer period of time. People can manage their words and even their facial expressions to some extent, but maintaining deliberate body positioning requires constant awareness, which most people don't sustain in casual interactions. As a result, her natural posture often tells a more honest story than anything she says. If she repeatedly adjusts herself to face you, leans slightly in your direction, or positions her body in a way that keeps you within her immediate space, it suggests that she feels drawn toward you on a deeper level. This kind of movement is not about politeness, it's about comfort combined with genuine interest. There is also a sense of openness that comes with this behavior. When her body is oriented towards you, it usually means she is not creating barriers or distance. Her posture may appear more relaxed, her movements more fluid, and her overall presence more engaged. Instead of turning away or closing herself off, she allows her body to remain accessible, almost as if she's inviting the interaction to continue without needing to say it directly. Hands and touch proximity reveal a deeper layer of attraction because they directly connect to personal space and comfort levels. Unlike other signals that can be observed from a distance, this one involves how close someone allows you to physically exist within their space. When a woman is attracted to you, her boundaries around touch and proximity often begin to shift in subtle ways. You might notice that she doesn't immediately pull her hands away during brief accidental contact, or that she allows small touches, like brushing hands or light contact on the arm, to linger just a fraction longer than usual. These moments may seem insignificant on the surface, but they reflect a growing level of comfort and openness that doesn't happen without reason. Another important detail is how her hands behave when she's near you. She may place them closer to you on a table, reduce the distance between your personal spaces, or position them in a way that makes contact more likely. Even if there is no direct touch, the proximity itself becomes meaningful. People naturally maintain a certain physical distance from others, especially those they feel neutral about. But when attraction is present, that distance often decreases without conscious effort. Her hands may move into your space as she gestures, or remain near yours without hesitation, suggesting that she is comfortable with the closeness and possibly even inviting it on a subconscious level. There is also a relaxed quality to how she handles physical space when she feels drawn to you. Instead of appearing guarded or withdrawn, her movements become more natural and unrestrained. She may not overthink where her hands are placed or how close she is standing, allowing the interaction to flow without creating unnecessary barriers. This ease around touch and proximity reflects an internal sense of safety combined with interest, where physical closeness no longer feels intrusive, but rather becomes a natural extension of the connection she's experiencing in that moment. Attraction is rarely something that's openly declared in the beginning. It's observed, felt, and understood through patterns that most people overlook. What you've seen here isn't about memorizing signals or trying to decode every small movement in isolation, but about becoming aware of how the human body naturally responds when interest is present. The eyes, the lips, the hair, the neck, the way her body aligns, and how comfortable she becomes with proximity, all of these are pieces of the same puzzle quietly working together beneath the surface. The difference between confusion and clarity often comes down to attention. When you stop focusing only on words and start noticing behavior, interactions begin to make more sense. You start to recognize when someone is simply being polite and when there's something more beneath it. These signals are not forced and they don't appear perfectly every time, but when they show up consistently, they reflect a genuine shift in emotion and interest. Understanding this changes how you move, how you respond, and how you interpret situations without second-guessing yourself. Instead of chasing validation or over-analyzing every detail, you begin to see what's already there, reading the situation with a calm sense of awareness that most people never develop.